Good day to you all. Let us see about one of the most famous and beloved women writers in the English literature. Her novels are still popular, relevant, and appreciated in the world. Her books have been made into countless TV, film, theatre, and radio adaptations. It is none other than Jane Austen. Before we get to know about the life and times of Jane Austen, let me introduce myself. I am Candice Deepthy, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Bishop Eber College, Trichy. Who is Jane Austen? Jane Austen was born in Hampshire, England on December 16, 1775. She was the seventh child of eight children born to Rector George Austen and his wife Cassandra Lake. George Austen was a small parish rector who had a modest income, which he supplemented to his family by doing farming and teaching. So, Austen's family atmosphere was intellectual, and a family enjoyed reading books aloud to one another. Jane Austen was really close to her sister Cassandra. They both exchanged letters. Initially, Austen wrote dramatic sketches, spoof, and poems at a really young age to entertain her family. Her first novel was at the age of 14, titled Love and Friendship, which was never published. Her interest towards writing novels started at a very young age. This little girl grew up to become the iconic British novelist of the Regency era, named after George Regent IV. Jane Austen novels are remarkable for their brilliant portrayal of the 18th century British society. She was a very fashionable guide to the domestic life of the Regency England, rich in comedy, romance, wit, and satire. Jane Austen's six novels are also pin sharp reflections of a social and geographical life in and around Hampshire, Bath, and Dorset. This prolific writer published six major novels in her lifetime that depicts the English middle class life during the early 19th century. Her novels are called the novels of manners that turned out to be the timeless classics and still relevant today. Friends and family circulated her writings and wooed publishers, but it was over a decade before Sense and Sensibility went into print in 1811, soon followed by Pride and Prejudice, which was published in 1813, which the author calls her own darling child. Then it was followed by the novel called Mansfield Park, which was published in 1814, and Emma during the years 1815 to 1816. She achieved modest success but only little fame in her lifetime since the books were published anonymously. Jane died in 1817 at the age of 41 in Winchester, Hampshire. Her two novels, Northanger Abbey and Persuasion, was both published posthumously in 1818. And she also began another novel before her death titled Sanderson, which was left unfinished at the time of the author's death. She also left behind three volumes of juvenile writings in manuscript and a short epistolary novel called Lady Susan, which was later published in 1871, and also the novel called Watsons, which was left unfinished. Is Lady Susan, which is a short epistolary novel which was later published in 1817, The Watsons, the unfinished novel, and Sanderson. It was left unfinished at the time of author's death. Lady Susan is about the beautiful, intelligent young heroine, and The Watsons is about a highly delightful story on marital prospects of Watson sisters in a small provincial town. And Sanderson is a last novel which portrays the Industrial Revolution, which is set on the seaside town. Sanderson was further completed by another lady. Jane Austen is one of the most widely read and accepted writers in the world of English literature. Her effective use of realism, indirect speech, and a free writing discourse, her crucial social criticism is very common in Austen's writing. Austen portrays her heroines as strong, highly influential. Most of her heroines are youthful, and a reader can easily find some similarities between the characters. Austen's heroines are intelligent, powerful, and follow feminist ideologies. Most of her novels are modeled on one specific pattern, so that there is a little difference in her art in all the novels she wrote. The of Jane Austen are minutely portrayed and accurately described. Let us see about the literary style of Jane Austen. Jane Austen uses literary style that relies on the combination of parody, burlesque, irony, free indirect speech, and a degree of realism. She makes an extensive use of literary style known as free indirect discourse or free indirect style, in which the narrator is the omniscient and who has access to the thoughts and feelings of the characters. She makes use of minimal description but instead focuses on the speech and action of her characters. The literary technique is, however, not invented by Austen, but she was one of the first writers to use it consistently throughout her work. Today, she is regarded as one of the pioneers of the style, anticipating writers such as Virginia Woolf and James Joyce, who extended the use of this style of writing in the novels of the early 20th century. As a creator of domestic novel, she has a high place in the history of English fiction. Her position in the history of English novel is remarkable because she evolved a stringent dramatic pattern in her novels. She introduced the single point of view technique, which was adopted as the fictional technique in the modern period. Her novels have always stood the test of time, so she is relevant till today. Thank you.